We're joined now by Republican Congressman Tony Gonzales of Texas, who's backing Republican leader McCarthy. Thank you so much for joining us tonight, Congressman. So after 6 failed votes, what's your message to those holdout Republicans tonight on why you believe that they should ultimately support Kevin McCarthy?
Yeah, Lindsey, thank you for having me. You know, it's gridlock here in Washington, and my message to the holdouts is this is wrong for the American people. The American people have made a decision, and it's time for the House to move forward. There's a lot of important things that we have to do in order to get this country back on track. Part of that is securing the southern border. I represent nearly half of the southern border. I look forward to. I reached out to the White House today to have the opportunity to host the president and to bring this country together. There's so much division and gridlock. It's time to put that aside and put the country first, because there are a lot of needs. The border's one, but the economy is another. Education, keeping our children safe. The list goes on and on. Congress needs to get to work.
There seems to be this impasse where they either just don't like him or don't trust him, right? Or maybe it's one or the other, or maybe it's both. Why is there any hope of negotiations or concessions to get McCarthy the votes that he needs?
Yeah, Lindsey, I spent 20 years in the military, and I see far too many politicians up here and not enough leaders. What I would like to see, we're about to go back into session here in about an hour, lock the doors. Nobody comes out until there's white smoke, right? Until we have a Speaker of the House going forward. That's what this place takes. It's always some cliff or, you know, Christmas or some deadline. It's time to just get everybody in a room and go, nobody goes home until we have a Speaker of the House, because there's too much at stake. Like I said, securing the southern border, you know, El Paso is still having lots of issues. There's a lot of very important topics that we need to be had, and we got to get done with this political infighting.
What's your response to Congresswoman Lauren Boebert, who said that former President Trump should be calling McCarthy and telling him to withdraw because he doesn't have the votes to win?
Yeah, I would remind the Congresswoman that there's only 20 votes, vice over 200 for Kevin McCarthy. At the end of the day, you know, President Trump, the most conservative parts of the Republican Party, Donald Trump, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Jim Jordan, everybody is supporting Kevin McCarthy. This is a personal vendetta behind it. I think at the end of the day, we got to look beyond it and go, who here in Washington, who here in Congress wants to get back on track? And if it's Democrats, then Republicans and Democrats need to come together and elect a Speaker of the House, and I think that's Kevin McCarthy.
Right now, a majority of House members voting is needed to become Speaker, but the idea of lowering the vote threshold to simply needing a plurality is reportedly being tossed about. Would you support that rule change to try to force those holdout Republicans to support McCarthy, knowing that Democrat Hakeem Jeffries has won the plurality of votes in every round so far?
Possibly. I mean, that's a tool that has been used in years past. What I would like to see, I'd like to see this country have more unity, and I think there's an opportunity to do that. There's also, I believe, there's Democrats that have had enough as well, and they want to see this House get back in order as well. So I think there's a lot of different opportunities to it, but enough with the games. Get us all in a room, lock the doors, and solve the problem, because it's not fair to the American public. A lot of these games up here, it's inside baseball, Washington Beltway stuff. Like I said, that the politicians are leading. Real Americans are worried about putting food on the table, keeping their kids safe. We deserve it to the American people to deliver for them, all of us, regardless of what side of the party you fall on.
Is there anyone else that you'd consider voting for? I know that Steve Scalise's name has been bandied about, for example.
You know, there's all these names that are getting thrown out. I think Kevin McCarthy has done a fantastic job getting us to this point, and he deserves the opportunity to do that. And the reality is 200 of my colleagues agree with me. You know, he's gotten over 200 votes every single round. So it's not as if that is a split amongst the caucus. It is a handful of people that are honestly putting their own ambitions ahead of the country, and that has to essentially end.
What does this all say about the state of the Republican Party and your party's ability to effectively and actually govern once a speaker is finally chosen?
You know, this is only the beginning, and, you know, this is supposed to be the easy part. So it terrifies me, and it should terrify everybody what the 118th Congress should look like. But we've seen this. I mean, the White House has been in disarray. The Senate has been in disarray. A lot of people were looking to the House to lead things, and it's not we're not off to a good start. I'd say it's time to put all that politics aside, you know, starting with President Biden visiting the border. That is a promising housing development. It's things like this on how can Congress work with the administration to solve the nation's problems. Enough with the inside baseball politics. It's time to deliver for the American public.
You know, I brought this to a Republican congresswoman who we spoke with last night about, you know, obviously, you know, the definition of insanity, right? Doing the same thing again and again, expecting a different outcome. Is that what's happening at this point? I mean, because if there are clearly these holdouts, and you're talking about, you know, locking everybody in the room until there's a white smoke, but we keep seeing the same thing happening again and again, and there's no different outcome. I mean, what is there going to take? Is there any hope that that it would be even effective if you locked everybody in the room tonight? Because it seems like there are some people who say, look, no matter what, I am never voting for Kevin McCarthy.
There is, and there's other folks that are saying no matter what, I'm only voting for Kevin McCarthy. I mean, the reality is we are going to have a Speaker of the House, and that will likely be Kevin McCarthy. What needs to happen is everybody just needs to get in that room and nobody leaves. It's the only way this place works. There has to be a deadline. There has to be some sort of pain, if you will, for these lawmakers. Otherwise, you know, they want to get back to business as normal. We got to lock everyone in the room and no one comes out until we have a Speaker of the House and we start delivering for the American public.
All right, well, we hope you're right, Congressman Gonzales, and that all of this perhaps will come to an end tonight. We so appreciate you joining the show. Thank you.
Thank you, Linsey.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.